trans woman saying, I have a cervix. And I'm thinking, how did she get it? Did she get it with her driver's license? Now it says Ed, and it was buy one, get one free. So you got the driver's license and you got the cervix free with it. So, and I'm still waiting for mine. So.
Hey, everybody. I caught myself another one. I'm so excited. I'm going to try to keep my voice a little more level this day because, as you all know, I keep repeating myself. I had dental surgery and I'm doing these interviews during waiting for my new teeth. So that being said, if you can all like and subscribe and do all those cool things, I can see that channel really getting bigger and more people are seeing us, which is really the whole point of this channel, is not because I want to be famous, but because I want to bring truth to the world. And I'm so lucky to have this guest this afternoon, and also the guests that I have been bringing on. It warms my heart that people are really becoming and stepping up and being vulnerable and pushing back against the hate that has become the trans community. It's sad for me. I get even emotional saying that, the hate coming from the trans. It's horrible, friend. It's horrible. So with that, I have this beautiful human being who I'm going to let introduce herself, and then we'll move on with the interview, Toni. So please introduce yourself.
Yes, well, hi everyone. Hi back. Thank you for having me on. My name's Toni. I'm nearly 60 and I don't work. I live at home. I just make things for myself and other people, and I help other people. That's what I do. So that's Excellent. It really. And I've been post-op 10 years this year. So
wow, congratulations. Yes. You look amazing.
I know.
Gosh, February, I'm so happy for you. That's fantastic.
You know, best thing I've ever done, I think. Do you know what I mean? So,
that's what I like to hear. There you go. Yeah. And you did it as an adult.
Exactly.
That's right.
I started in my early 20s, but I got scared off. And it was just too much. But I don't think I was ready. And then in my mid-40s, I decided, right, no, enough's enough. I can't live the way I am, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So just get rid of the bits I wanted to get rid of, and that's it. So, and here I am.
And there you are, a happy human walking.
Well, exactly.
Yes, I could say for myself too. I think early on I felt these things, but I didn't have the opportunity, nor did I wasn't sure. Maybe I wasn't supposed to do that until I was 30. So these, I think, are why these important conversations between older people like us who did choose these routes as an adult and somebody who lived a life before our transition.
Exactly.
Yeah. So why don't we start maybe with, tell me a little bit about your childhood. Could you do that?
It wasn't a very good childhood, to tell the truth. Severe childhood trauma, but I had very strong women in my life, which helps me through all that, which was lovely. And but one of them just wasn't. Do you know what I mean? So if she would have done what she did to me and my brother, one of my brothers today, she'd be locked up. That's how bad she was. That was my own mother. So my grandmother, I virtually was around her house every day, virtually until I was 11, until she died. And then stayed with my aunties and uncles and things like that during holidays and whatever, and then had to put up with my mother. Abusing us, basically, physically and emotionally abusing us. So I had to live with that. And now I've got PTSD. I was diagnosed with that a few years ago. So because of it all. So, but, you know, I just toddle on, basically. Do you know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. I don't see myself as a victim. I see myself as a survivor. I survived it. I'm still going. She tried her best to stop me, but I'm still here. And so am I. So is my brother. You know, so even though we don't have a relationship, I've got two brothers, we don't have a relationship at all, because I'm trans, basically. Do you know what I mean? So,
I'm sorry.
No. Do you know? We hardly had a relationship anyway beforehand. I left home when my youngest brother was 5 years old. So that's the last time I saw him. He was 5, and now he's 45 now, I think. So it's been 40 odd years since I've seen him. So. Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I know.
And you have two brothers, right?
I've got two brothers and a stepsister as well. So,
I
never knew. Yeah.
Are they all
I knew nothing about it.
Are all your siblings not cool with you?
My two brothers aren't, and my stepsister, she's lovely, and she is. we chat all the time, and we keep in touch and everything. Do you know what I mean? So, and last week she even sent me a picture that she found of my grandparents. So, you know, which was lovely. You know, so because I didn't have that. So, and they were, you know, so in a huge part of my younger life, as it were. So, yeah. So yeah, all good on that part. But I have the friends I have are like family, if you know what I mean. So, you know, so because we are close, it's like I've got friends that I see as family, and we are really close. We tell each other everything, you know. So when like, so mostly women, of course, and I do have a couple of gay men which are friends, but all my trans friends, they're online because I couldn't be dealing with the two-faced attitudes with some of the trans people I was hanging around with. They were one minute they were saying, "Oh no, you can't say that," and then coming to me personally in private saying, "I believe the same as you do, Tony, but I can't say anything in case I may offend someone." And I'm thinking, you can't live like that. No. You know, you can't live your life for other people. You know, so and this is where I think the trans community is wrong, is because they're trying to live their lives through other people, of validation and things like that. And oh, look at me, aren't I marvelous? Aren't I pretty? And everything. And you know, it just doesn't work. It really doesn't. You know,
it's really no. This is about you, and I'm fascinated by your view. It's why I asked you to come on, because I think as a trans woman. As a trans man myself, I see a lot of the dominating sort of dialogue coming out of the community by trans women. I don't really see a lot of trans males, you know, saying anything, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's well, both on yourself and Scott, of course. So that's right. That I know of. Yeah, you know, so personally, but there may be one or two. Well,
Marcus. Do you know Marcus, the official tranny on YouTube? He's a young kid. He's excellent. He's a real great kid. But I guess my point, of course, there's some of us doing this for sure, but I'd say the majority of the conversation revolves around trans women. Trans women are women. Trans women in sports. Trans women get you know, you have uteruses and have their period.
And cervixes and things. I'm sorry, you know. So it's like I started a joke a couple of weeks ago because somebody was saying, "Oh, I have a cervix." Trans woman saying, "Oh, I have a cervix," and I'm thinking, "How did she get it? Did she get it with her driver's license?" And now it says "add," and it was buy one get one free. So you got the driver's license and you got the cervix free with it. So, and I'm still waiting for mine. So, you know,
I know that's how absurd. I mean, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Ridiculous. It really is. Apparently, one or two surgeons in the US are making cervixes. I think, I don't know. So I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not, or just wishful thinking. So
it's not. You know, I think they're doing experimental stuff, and I saw that I think coming out of Thailand, there's a doctor doing it, and you know, it's all experimental. Like everything that we have in our body. You and I both are also experiments. We're experiments.
Exactly. And they hate it when you say that. They hate it with a passion when you say that. I was quoted for. I was told that I was full of hatred, self-hatred against it, which is apparently I'm full of internalized transphobia and homophobia and everything. And I'm thinking, oh, you don't know me, darlings. Do you know what I mean? Right. So it's just ridiculous. And I see that you get the same as well online. And what are they achieving?
Nothing. They're ruining us. Well, yeah. I mean, so that being said, that I consider that gaslighting. You know, I transitioned 30 years ago. You can't say those things to me. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It makes them look insane. And that's okay. Keep saying it, people, because I'll just keep exposing you, and I'll keep bringing on actually based transsexuals like Toni, who will tell you that, you know, she had to do this because X, Y. So let's get back to you. So tell me, what happened that you decided 10 or so years ago that you needed to transition? Was there a turning point?
Well, it was literally a case of life or death, basically, and I chose life, and part of life was to transition, and that's how it was. And I was married to a man, and we separated. And after we separated, I said, "Right, now it's time for me to get myself sorted," and that was it. And we're still friends. We met 21 years ago today, actually, 22 years ago today.
Sweet.
So, and we were together 10 years, married for 3, and
Wow.
and then when we separated, I wanted to do this, and he wanted to be a minister, and so I just decided to go and do this. But what I don't understand is I had to go through months of therapy before I was even put on hormones. And these days, you just go in and see a clinician and say, "Oh, look, I'm trans," and that's within an hour you've got a prescription for. And I think that is just so wrong. It really is so wrong. And this is what I don't get. There's so many people, especially in the UK, waiting on the waiting list, waiting to be seen. And then you get these youngsters just running in saying, "Oh, I'm trans," and then literally within 5 minutes or about an hour. So I don't know if you heard about the Tavistock and Portman Clinic. Yeah,
that's right. Of course. Well, why don't you tell us? Tell the people out there about that.
Well, it was a clinic for children and young people who were questioning their gender. I wouldn't say they were trans, they were questioning where their standing in life is, and within one case, 11-year-old went in, and it was the mother that did all the talking, and the child, she just sat there. She was 11 years old, and she was put on puberty blockers straight away. And the therapist didn't speak to the child once, just spoke to the mother. And all this is coming out. All this is coming out now. And it's just ridiculous. And there's been so many whistleblowers over the last 12, 15 years, both online and in person. And they've all been sacked. They've all been ridiculed online. They've lost their livelihoods and everything, So because they dared to question the ethics of the clinic. And it's just ridiculous. And it's just basically money, isn't it? So,
yep, it totally is. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We have a different system here so as the UK and pretty much all of the EU shuts down childhood transitioning, we as United States of America are actually ramping it up and pushing it.
I don't understand. Don't understand because
money.
Yeah, that's number one, and number two, the basic premise of the trans healthcare, which is based on the clinical trials in Amsterdam. And over the last couple of years, every single doctor that was involved in that trial have taken the name off it. But the UK and Canada are still using it as a base for their trans healthcare. And
right.
There's no healthcare. There's no healthcare. It's not. It's care. It's money. It's trans money. That's it.
It's so breaking my heart.
So many children, young people are just ruined by it, and that breaks my heart. It really does. So
yeah, because you can see you and I are functioning adults, and this really helped us move forward in our lives. And that's the whole point of transitioning. Yeah. And, I want everybody out there to understand, Toni and I are pro-transitioning, but we're pro-transitioning for someone who can actually make that choice for them.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's
the right way. Yes.
That's right.
In the UK, even with adults, it's basically the surgery is the end goal. It's not the last resort, and I think it should be the last resort. Therapy, more therapy first, and if that doesn't work, then try hormone treatment. And if that doesn't work, those therapy and hormone treatment don't work, then go for surgery. Not be the end goal, be the last resort, and that's what I think it should be for every single person. But with children, it has to be therapy.
That's right.
No drugs at all with it. And people say, "Oh, but what about if they've got cancer?" Cancer is a totally different thing. You
can't equate trans with cancer or anything else. First off, it's our mental transsexualism is in your brain. This is the second thing. We have to work with these children's brains and figure out. First off, here, let me tell you something. As someone who transitioned 1 billion years ago, I remember this thing when I was going through my therapy. And my therapist really worked with me trying to understand, why did I feel like a man? And she pushed against me for years and years and years and said, but what does that mean? The whole point is, we don't want you to live in dysphoria, and you should try to be able to figure out, why is this kid all of a sudden. And also, we didn't call ourselves trans. I said I felt like a boy, or I felt like a girl. These kids are saying I'm trans. That is a huge thing that people need to understand. They're being given a language that they don't even know what that means. What do you mean you're trans? That's not the end goal. The end goal is to be a man or a woman. Like what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But they just don't see that, do they? Because they're so young, and what they see is now, or tomorrow, or next week.
That's
they
right.
Don't see 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, and what will happen to them then? So it's all now, and that all comes down to the brain function, basically. So
that's right.
And the brain doesn't mature until you're 25, but if you put on puberty blockers, it doesn't mature at all. So
done. And then, so we have a thing now called detransitioners, right?
Do you know that they break my heart? Honestly, every story I see, I just want to run up and hug them if I could, and help them. But there's no help out there for them.
No.
And this is where it's so wrong. That the so-called trans community that was there for them at the beginning have turned their backs on them and called them all the disgusting names under the sun. So just throwing them out to the wolves on their own, and that has affected them more, I think, than actually than the detransitioning itself. I think the fact that they've been ostracized by the very community that was supposed to be there for them at the beginning, and they've been ostracized, and has affected them more, I think, because of that.
That's right. They're losing their community. So they were petted, right? They were revered as brave and trans joy and blah blah blah. And the minute they said, "Well, wait a minute here," so that's another thing I always want our watchers to see, our viewership to see, is that, wait a minute here. If these kids all of a sudden change their mind, right, which they should have never been put in that position in the first place, but now they're changing their mind, and the community that is supposed to be so accepting and loving turns on them like rabid animals.
Kick them to the curb, Kick them to the curb. Yeah, throw them.
How is that a community? How is that?
It's not. It never had. It was a community decades ago. It really was. But now it's just full of youngsters just screaming and shouting and demanding, and and it's just so it's tiring for me.
Yeah.
But the gods only know how tiring it is for people who are slap bang in the middle of it. Right. So it's just, and I'm thinking, just give it a rest for 5 minutes. Just take a step back from your trans identity and then see the world for what it is.
That's right.
So, and so I'm getting a bit annoyed now.
No, you're great.
You're great. So, but, and this is what I want to tell all the youngsters out there, being trans or having dysphoria should not be the end all and be all and end all of your life. It should be just be a part of your life. And there's other things that part of my life. I'm a trainee psychologist. I'm training into mental health at the moment. I'm learning about psychology of language at the moment, and I sew, I knit, I crochet, and I help people who are neurodivergent every Wednesday during a craft club. I'm a volunteer. And I only found out myself last year that I'm autistic as well. So that was hidden underneath my PTSD and childhood traumas and everything. So, but all that, and I happen to be trans, and that's it. I mean, so that's I just happen to be trans. I'm Toni, and I happen to be trans. But everything else in between, then trans. So, and that's how it should be. And these youngsters.
So tell me this. You don't live as a trans person. You live as Toni, this woman.
I live as Toni,
a transsexual woman. Do you identify as transsexual by any chance, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I actually put a statement out. I know it sounds silly, on Twitter and Facebook a few weeks ago, that I do not want to be associated with the trans community anymore because of what it has become. And don't call me trans. Don't call me transgender. Call me transsexual. Call me Toni. Call me whatever else you want, but not trans nor transgender, because I'm neither of those. I'm a transsexual. So, and I refuse to be part of that blighted community, you know. So it's just so.
Why are they so angry?
Because they can't come to terms with their own selves. And that's what it is. They're angry with themselves for not being happy. So therefore, I think they project it onto others. And the reason why they hate women so much is because they will never be a woman. You know, so they'll never be women. And I want to be treated as a woman. Well, act like one then. You know, so don't go screaming, calling women all the names under the sun, and then expect them to welcome you with open arms into their spaces. That will not happen.
That's right.
And this is what I keep telling them, but they won't listen to me. Oh, you're so full of hatred. You're so full of internalized transphobia. And we'll be here with open arms when they finally kick you away and they have no use for you anymore. And do you know, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? And it's just, I'm thinking, you can wait there with open arms for all you want. Your arms are going to fall off before you welcome me into your little crowd. And a couple of weeks ago, I think the most offensive word I was ever called, and I do apologize for everybody for this, and the person that used it was on Twitter, and they said, I'm not Jewish, and I shouldn't be using this Jewish word, but I see you as a capo. And I had to check what that word was, and not a very nice word at all. And I thought, how dare you? How dare
Disgusting.
you? That offended me so much. Not on my behalf, but on behalf of our Jewish brethren out there, you know, so the ones that I've gone through all that, you know, so, and this person has the temerity to use a Jewish word, and after saying that they're not Jewish and they shouldn't be using Jewish words. And I think, so why are you doing it then? You know, so
because they don't have anything else. You know, all these Nazi, bigot, all these insane words that they throw at me, at both of us. They throw because they want to. You know, this is cult mentality. When you start to try to shut other people's voices down, it is. And I know people get very mad at me for saying that, but I don't care. I see parallels that. Yeah,
exactly. It definitely is a cult, and I keep saying that to people. It's a cult. They go, no, not. And I said, oh, okay. Name other group of people that demand that you treat them a certain way, that demand that they take over your rights, demand to take over your spaces, and demand that you bow down to them for everything they say and call them whatever they want you to call them. But if they call you something and you don't like it, you're the bigot. You know, so it's just, which I don't understand, you know, so I'm thinking, call me whatever you want, but if you're calling me names, I can call you names. You know?
Freedom of speech.
Exactly. Or in the UK, it's freedom of expression. We don't have freedom of speech in the UK, and they keep throwing that around. And I go, no, we don't. We have freedom of expression, not freedom of speech, was the difference. And because we're a kingdom and not, because we're a kingdom, really. But, so, and it's just ridiculous. It's like with all this, but you're cis, I'm trans. And I'm thinking,
wow.
You know, so if they don't want to be called cis, don't call them cis, because they're not cis anyway. They're just men and women. You know, so but
that's a jealousy. That's the, you know, and I also want to say this. I want to look cisgender. The whole point of my transition was so that I look like a man and I could walk the world. I mean, in hopes that people never know I'm transsexual.
To fit in, exactly.
That's right.
Yes. I was told about a year before I had my surgery by my psychiatrist. He said to me, because I'm 6'4", and I'm huge. I'm built like a linebacker, basically. and my psychiatrist turned around to me about a year before my surgery. He said, you know, Tony, he said, you'll never be stealth. And I'm thinking, but why would I want to be stealth? I'm doing this for me, not for anyone else.
But I'm going to tell you, and Tony, I don't believe it. You look like a woman to me. I mean, I even though you know what, my partner's super tall, and I've been with super tall, like, biological women. So I had a 6 foot tall ex-wife. What are you talking about? I don't necessarily think that's true, but you know, however you need to live your life, right? And you don't care. I can already tell. You just don't care.
Oh, you know, it's just, you know, and it's just, oh, here we go again. do they have a list of names, as they call us? This is what I want to know. Do they have the file that they share with everyone else? Do you know what I mean? Because they all come out with the same name.
The same.
Exactly. And every time that somebody comes up with something new, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm so excited. They found a new name to call me, kind of thing, you know? So it's just ridiculous. But Capo was the only one that offended me. I've been called a quisling, I've been called a bootlicker, a water carrier.
Water carrier? What's that?
I know. And I'm thinking, these bitches are thirsty and I'm working my backside off to carry the water. You know, so honestly, it's just ridiculous, you know? So, and just so many things. And I'm full of hatred, full of internalized transphobia, and I'm a transphobe.
Yeah.
And we know all that because you follow J.K. Rowling, and you know, and it's just.
Totally.
Please, you know, that woman is a saint. I don't care. You know,
love
she
her.
is.
I love her.
I love her to bits.
I love her.
And she follows me as well.
That's because she loves you. That's because she's not a transphobe, and that's because she doesn't have any trans hate in her body. She's a smart, intelligent human woman who has every right to say what she wants to say. She is not transphobic. I'm going to push back on you people. You're gaslighting. You're faking it. You're trying to find a fake reason to get the whole world to hate somebody, which is so sick and wrong. And
because none of them have read the essays that she's written.
None. And as a trans woman and you transitioning, has your life become better through your transition?
God, yes, definitely. Oh, definitely, much better.
There you go.
I'm more. I think I'm more contented within myself. Before my transition, I wouldn't have bothered doing anything to do with psychology, even though I wanted to. I didn't have the mindset to do it, and other things I do now. You know, so 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I wouldn't have dreamed of what I'm doing now. You know,
That's right.
And I think that comes with inner contentment and inner peace. I think more than anything. Do you know what I mean? So
that's right.
And I think that's why I don't get as much crap when I'm out and about, because I'm me. I don't walk around with my head down or big signs saying, "Oh, look at me, aren't I gorgeous?" kind of thing, you know. So I'm just me and that's it, you know. So with a big neon sign, "Oh, look, I'm trans, you know. So it's just ridiculous. And people who expect that from other people, they better be ready for a huge disappointment, because it's not going to always be there. You know, so I think the only time I ever had anything shouted at me was about 6 months before my surgery. Somebody called me a freak, and she was sat there eating a huge pie. So, you know,
you know, you're always going to get it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oranges and apples.
Well, that's what I think. These young people are being misguided and they're not being told the truth. You will always have hate. People will always say nonsense. People call me a woman all the time. Look at me. It's obvious. People just sometimes are not going to be okay with us, and that's okay. I just want people to understand. Toni and I want to just walk the world and be happy, and we are. And we don't care if you accept us. We accept ourselves, and we aren't pushing on you. That's the difference between us and them. That they are forcing people to take on their belief system. You can't do that with religion. You can't do that with lifestyle. You can't force people to believe something they don't believe. That's ridiculous.
If you force anybody, they push back even harder.
That's right. Great.
And this is what's happening now. Society is starting to turn its back against the trans community, and the people who are getting it from society are people like you and I, the ones who are literally out there.
That's right.
You know, so like speaking our minds about it and talking about it and saying, no, this is wrong, but this is right, but this is wrong, kind of thing. That's know, so and we're the ones that get mistreated because we are out there, and we have put targets on our backs, and we didn't have to do it, and you know, but we did. You know, so we didn't have to.
So would you say that you're here putting yourself out into the world because you see something happening with a young generation that is, Yeah, I think me and you definitely are in alignment
It's
on
just,
the
you know,
kids.
something needs to be done. It needs to be done now, not next year. No, it needs to be done now. You know, so it needs to be stopped now, and it's just leave children alone. Let children be children. You know,
It's
so when you
unbelievable.
hit 18, you're classed as an adult, then go ahead and do whatever the hell you want.
Mhm.
You know, so as long as between it, you know, as long as you consent to it and with other consenting adults, but children, leave children alone. And this is, and vulnerable young people. There was
That's
it
right.
the CEO of WHO, that turned around and said if severely autistic children can't speak, aren't verbal, they can draw their gender and that would be okay.
Right. What the heck is?
What the
I mean,
hell is that about? I'm sorry.
I mean,
You know?
first off, do you notice? And I've been interviewing more autistic people, but there's they're saying there's a correlation between
Yes,
autism and trans. Now
yes,
you were diagnosed as autistic, you said
yes, a couple of years ago.
a couple
Yeah,
of years
yeah,
ago. So
yeah.
I'm
So after
wondering,
that transition, yeah.
yeah, but you as an adult transition. So now these
Yeah,
young autistic children are being sort of put in this position to say they're trans, which I find to
yeah.
be so crazy. And
It's just maddening. It's just maddening, you know. So and of course, because they're vulnerable anyway, you
there you
know.
go.
So they're thinking, oh my gosh, you know. So it's okay. I can change my sex, but you can't.
No, you
And
can't.
anybody who is autistic, a slight change, especially bodily changes like going through puberty, is one of the
Right.
worst things you can go through. And when somebody tells
Oh,
them, look, I've got this magic pill or magic injection, I'll take that
oh,
away from you and change your sex. You don't have to
oh,
go through all that,
that's
you
right.
know. So they're going to jump for it, aren't they? So they're going to go for it. So
Oh, I see the correlation there. So
yeah,
with autistic
exactly.
people, well, from what I heard and I'm learning, it's more of a very black and white type
Oh,
thinking, right?
definitely. Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes. There's no grey
right,
areas. It's like this or this, and that's it. You know, so there's
right.
no in between at all. You know, so and it's just and there's always a choice. You have to have only two. There's more than two choices. That's it. You're as long as you're buggered, you
Yeah,
know.
right,
So
right.
because you can't make your mind up, and it just really does your head in. But
Wow.
basically, if they're told that they don't have to go through that change, that they can control it by this magic injection or pill or whatever,
Wow.
that's
So
it.
so I
Yeah,
see as they start going through puberty and, you know,
puberty, and they
for
see the
girls,
changes. Yeah, yeah,
right, they
exactly,
see it and it, like,
exactly.
totally freaks them
Yeah,
out,
yeah, exactly,
and
exactly,
then they're
exactly.
offered
And
a
the use that,
pill, right, that says, "We'll stop that."
yes,
Of course, that kid is gonna be like,
mm,
"Sign me up."
exactly, exactly. And going back to the Tavistock and Portland Clinic, they found in one of the reports they found that 49 out of 50 children, young people, grew out of being trans. So basically, only 2% of children, young people that went to that clinic carried on to become trans in adulthood.
Wow.
And out of that 98%, there were other um, issues as well from religion, you know,
Yep.
parents who are very religious would rather have a trans child than a gay child.
Mhm.
Um, things like eating disorders, and of
Mm.
course autism, and maybe ADHD
Mm.
as well. So those are the main things, and some form of abuse at home as well, or in their environment, kind of thing. And this is another reason why I think there's such an upsurge of young girls wanting to transition, is because they've been abused mostly. I think,
Wow.
you know,
I
it's
think
just a
you're right.
theory. You know, so and they're thinking, right, I want to identify out of my sex now. So
Right.
you know,
Right.
so it's just, you
So
understand?
a lot of these, of course,
Yeah.
I know this too, but I think it's important you say this. So a lot of these so a lot of these kids have some kind of
Other issues, yeah, yes,
mental
underlying issues. Yeah,
disorder or
yeah.
trauma going on,
Mhm,
or yeah,
mhm,
you know,
mhm.
PTSD, autism, blah
Yeah,
blah blah. But if
exactly,
they're
exactly.
not addressing those, they're just saying,
Not at all, not at all,
"Wow,
not at all. It's
wow,
just basically total affirmation and that's it, you know? So, because they're told, or the therapists are told that, if you question,
that's right."
anything else. It's classed as conversion therapy. So
I mean,
I know exactly.
You know what? These people don't understand what conversion therapy is. Conversion therapy is literally telling someone you are not like, okay, let's just use gay, right? Because that was the beginning of it when they would have to go to these places, and they would literally have to go into these places that were like, telling them every day, you're not gay, you're not gay. This is like, that's not the same thing. This is like, let's see what's going on with you, kiddo, and let's help you sort of move through this space. It's not, there's nothing negative about trying to help a kid deal with whatever.
Well, apparently it is. According to the trans community,
that's gaslighting. That's complete gaslighting. It's lying. It's flipping the narrative.
It's cultish behavior. You know, so, and that's what it all boils down to. Is even the gaslighting part of it is that's what cults do. And you know, so I started reading last week about cults actually, and a couple of other things. You know, and literally I just browsed, and a couple of the things that they mentioned, and that's definitely the trans community as it is today.
I know. I mean, I just did an interview with a young lady. I just want to find this right now. She's an ex-Mormon. It's my latest interview, and she has some really, anybody who's interested in cults, go watch it, because she has some, she actually gave a name of a person. I don't know where it is right now, but anyways, she gave a name of a great guy who talks about cults and helps people get out of cults. And you know, I hate calling the trans community a cult. I really do, but there's an aspect of it that is,
call it what it is, and that's what it is.
And
the ones that are screaming the loudest, they are the ones that are leading that cult. You know, and others within the trans community are too scared to say anything because they will lose the only community that they think they're a part of. But the whole world is a community if you want it to be.
Thank you, friend.
You know, not just, you know, you don't have to be just within the trans community, you know, so you can make.
I mean, that's just weird. I don't even have that many trans friends. I'll be honest with you. I have such a diverse. I mean, if you saw, like, if I lined up my friends, it'd be like the world, because I have literally every aspect of you know, place and time, and that's the whole point of transitioning, is to sort of live coexisting with the rest of the world.
Exactly, and fitting in, fitting in and changing yourself to society, and forcing society to change to your ways. And this is what's going on, and it's not going to work. It isn't going to work at all.
But why are they doing this? Do you have some kind of idea why they would want to start indoctrinating all these young people? How they wanted to sort of create this community of, if you don't believe us, you're transphobic, and trans women are women, and you know what is their end goal?
Sorry, I mean, they always say that, and I'm thinking, I even said that this morning to somebody on Twitter, and I'm thinking, if trans women are women, why did I go through all this? Why did I have surgery? Why did I have the hormone treatment? Why did I have therapy? I said, if I was a woman already, why would I go through all this?
That's right.
And this is what I don't understand, and I'm thinking, but when it comes down to it, if they want to procreate and have babies, they know exactly what a woman is then, don't they?
That's right.
You know, so, it's just, call me what you want. Do you know what I mean? So if it makes you happy to think that, if you see me as a woman and that makes you happy seeing me as a woman, then go for it. I'm not going to demand that you see me as something I know I'm not, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So,
well, no, that's because you live in reality, and that's also because you respect women. No, Tony, you respect women, and that's why women respect you. That's all they're asking.
Yeah, I respect people, even those that call me all the names under the sun. I don't block them. I don't, you know, I joke at them, you know, so, and I'm thinking, oh, bless your heart, kind of thing, you know, so, and I'm thinking, in the most southern kind of way, kind of thing, do you know what I mean? So, bless your heart. And, you know, so, but because I know that they're hurting and they're trying to push that onto other people, but they shouldn't. They should. This is where therapy is so important.
That's right.
When you, and, you know, so, and I was, I told you, didn't I? I was, my Twitter account was suspended a few weeks ago because I dared to mention that gender dysphoria was a mental health disorder.
I mean, are you kidding me? You're an actual transsexual. I say it all the time. I haven't been banned. I don't know why. I don't know why I haven't.
I think it's because the person I was talking to must have reported me straight away. And it was literally within a minute of me posting that. And it was, if you want your account back, please delete this this tweet. Yeah, it was. That's how bad it was. And I'm thinking, so of course for 24 hours I'm there going, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because I'm stubborn as a mule. But I did.
Love you. I love you.
In the end, I thought, I can't live without Twitter. I can't. So I have to in the end just to get back in the fray, as it were. So
well, because sometimes you gotta. That's right. You got to choose your fights. But that being said, you have every right to say that as a transsexual who acknowledges their biology and their mental disorder. What the F is going on here, people? It's so absurd. I say it all the time. I get so reamed by these trans activists. You know, you're transphobic. How can I be transphobic when I'm actually being honest about who I am? Like, what are you people doing?
You know, they're the ones that are being transphobic, that denying who they are. And I think that is transphobia. And saying that I'm a woman, I think is transphobic in itself, because they are denying my trans history, my history before I transitioned. And I see myself that I still will carry on transitioning until the day I die. And that is my journey. Even though I've had, you know, the cosmetic surgery downstairs, the basement, as it were. I call it basement conversion. That's what I call it. But yeah, exactly. And you know, but my life will always be in transition. So I'm surgically transitioned 10 years ago, but I'm still transitioning because I'm still finding my way in life, and I will do. And
forever.
Thank you. Yes,
I'm 30 years. I'm still transitioning. I mean, I don't know what these people think. There's no end game here, by the way. Let me just tell you, you know, that's the thing that I keep trying to tell everybody. This isn't joy. I mean, I'm very happy that I get to do this, but I don't wake up every day, woohoo, I'm trans. No, the whole goal of transitioning is to get rid of my dysphoria so I can walk the world. But I'll tell you, I would have chose never to have gender dysphoria, and I would have chose to either be born a man or to be able to live in my biology. We're feeding children a complete lie when we say we can change your sex, and also trans joy. These are very weird little tropes that are being shoved in these kids. Euphoria, joy, you know, like I'm trans. Like, who cares? Who cares?
There's nothing euphoric about having hormone treatment. There's nothing euphoric about going through surgery. It's hell. Basically, it is hell. But it's one of those things I have to do in order to carry on, and I will carry on transitioning. And you know, I was the same. I wish I was born a girl, and I wish I didn't have dysphoria. I still have dysphoria, and I always will. But doing all this has helped me deal with it a hell of a lot. And I'll deal with it much better. It's not every morning now. It's just once in a while kind of thing, you know? So, and I'm just looking at it and oh, she'll do kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's how, I know. That's how I crack on with my day. It's like, oh, she'll do. And that's it, you know? So
you're awesome.
Oh, thank you.
No, you have such a beautiful attitude, and this is again why people are going to just love you, because you know this is a real transsexual human next to me here, and this person is what I'm trying to show you is that what you all see out there today, we don't agree with that. We want to be with you people out there. We don't want you to look at us without being in reality. We know we're biologically female and male. We totally know that, and we're very okay with that. But what we're trying to do here is say, look, we can't walk the world looking like I can't look like a woman and you can't look like a man, and we switched places. All me and you did is switch places. That's all we did, and we're happy, as you can see. Look at us, me and her. I mean, we can make fun of ourselves, which I think is really powerful.
Do you know? I think that having a sense of humor actually helped me a lot through my the first couple of years of my transition.
Excellent.
Because I had to laugh at myself, you know. Excellent. Because if there's no humor, what else is there really? Compassion and humor, those two main things I think in life. You know, sorry, I'm preaching again now, going, oh, love yourselves and oh, whatever, you know. So, but you do need to at least like yourself if you don't even love yourself. you know. So in
Well,
order
that's
to
a difference. There's a difference in you saying, and it's coming from your own experience, right?
exactly,
The
yeah,
people who are leading this charge have transitioned 2 minutes ago. Number one. Number two, we have these non-binary, which again, I don't have an issue with someone being non-binary, but they're not trans and they don't have
no,
the same
no,
experience as you and I. And then we have this new idea of what trans is, that you don't need gender dysphoria to be trans, or you can self-ID. Or what
it's
are
all
you
part of
talking about, people? They hijacked. They literally took our space and are pushing
yes,
me and you
yes,
out of it. That
exactly. Oh, true scum and transmeds. That's who we are.
I
Yes,
mean, that is
exactly.
just
And
absurd.
I think, excuse me, and they're going, oh, we don't have to transition at all to be trans, and I'm there going, but isn't that the point of it all? You know, so if you don't, you know, so okay, fine. If you just go on hormones and without surgery, you're still transitioning. It's still a part of it, you know. So, but
That's right.
by
Right.
just
It's
saying, "Oh, look,
crazy.
I'm wearing lipstick and a flowery dress. Now I'm trans." No, you're not.
And a beard. Just now, that's what I want to
Okay.
ask you as a transsexual woman. How do you feel about these people who are identifying as a female but making no effort to transition physically to look like a female, yet they're identifying as a female?
If I say exactly how I feel, you'd be taken off air. I'm telling you.
No, I'm not
It's-
kidding. I actually want this is your interview. So if you feel comfortable saying it.
They definitely do have mental disorder. I don't know what it is, but there's something mentally askew there.
Mhm,
Because how can they
mhm,
look like that and say they're women?
mhm. How? How? And why are they doing that? Do you have an idea other than
Um,
something
I
mental
think it's their
disorder?
way of trying to get away from the patriarchy side of life,
Mm,
if you know what I
mm.
mean. So
Yes.
that so, the man is the breadwinner and he has to go out hunting and
Mhm,
fishing and everything, you know. So
mhm.
I think they're trying to get away from that because being a man is just too much for them, and
Oh,
they
wow.
think, okay, if I now say I'm a woman and wear a dress, that's it. My life's going to be easier, but it's not going to
Oh,
be. It's not going
wow.
to be easier at all. It's going to be
Well,
even worse, I think.
oh,
You
I do
know,
too.
so
100%.
because they can't think that they're really women dressed like that. I'm sorry. If
No, they
I,
can't.
after total transition, surgical transition, don't see myself as a woman, how on earth can they? Beards and hairy chest? No, darling, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sweetie.
So you see why. Then my next question to you is, do you see
Start
why
manscaping at least.
mansplaining? I mean, it's absurd. Not only is it absurd, it's dangerous. So now we've opened this door that anybody can ID as a woman or a man and
Yeah,
use the facilities. So
exactly.
now
And
we're
it's so
having
wrong. It's so
guys,
wrong.
men who are identifying as women with
Yes,
no hormones, no nothing, just
exactly.
looking like me and saying
Yes.
I'm a woman and going into the woman's room. How are we supposed to take that seriously? And how is that like you and I? How?
It's not. It's not. It's just
It's not.
basically men trying to take over women's spaces. And
There
that's
you go.
exactly what it is. That's how I feel. That's what I think it is. It's
Me
just
too.
men going in there saying, right, this is my space now. You can't have your space. You've had your own way for so long, and that's enough now. And I think that's what it is. You
It's
know,
literally
so
the patriarchy.
exactly,
It's
exactly.
misogyny.
Thank you.
It's
Yes, it's Misogyny
everything.
101. Exactly. That's what it is. It's just basically saying, right, women go back to where you were pre 1970s. Because in
Totally.
the UK, a woman couldn't have her own bank account until I think it was 72 or 74.
Oh
Yes,
wow.
before
I
then,
didn't
she
know
had to
that.
have either her father sign for her. And before that, only the men in the family could have a bank account.
Wow. 1972?
Exactly. And, you know, it's talking about just over 50 years that women have been allowed to have their own bank account in the UK.
Oh my
And now
god.
men are going into their spaces and saying, you can't have this anymore. and it's just ridiculous. And women's sports and everything is just ridiculous, you know. So
Why do you think it's only men who want to be women doing this and trying to invade female space? Because I don't see this at all coming from trans men or women wanting to be men
no,
at all.
no,
Do you?
no, hardly ever, if at all. I think it's hatred and jealousy. I think both of them. They hate women because, like I said, going back to what I said earlier, people tend to hate the things that they can never be.
Wow.
And I think, well, that's where the hatred comes from. There'll never be women, and I'll never be a woman, which I know about, and I'm quite happy with that, you know.
That's why you're happy, and that's why you're very, very grounded and very based and all of that, because that's exactly what you said. But, you know, I mean, I can say it. I don't give a heck what anybody thinks about me, but I totally do think it's a misogynistic, hate-filled movement of men claiming to be women and forcing everybody to see something they don't. It's like the emperor's, what is it? The emperor's no clothes or new clothes. It's just, you know, you see this, you see, no, I don't see shit. What are you talking about? Like, that's actually not true.
I know. And I'm that all the time online. People are just, you know, saying, especially women are saying, oh, but it's not happening. It's never happening. It's never happened. And I'm thinking, you're lucky you haven't been a part of it. You're lucky you haven't been sworn at. You're lucky you haven't been called all the different names under the sun by the trans community. You're just lucky, you know. And I've shared in the past posts that people have sent, trans people have sent other people, you know, especially women, and it's just disgusting. It's just awful, horrible things. And apparently I'm lying about it all, and they get truth, but they don't want to accept it. That's what I think.
Well, 100% they don't, because they're being called out on their lies and they're being called out. And that's why J.K. Rowling is a badass, because she's not backing down. And now, you know, I'll just tell you this. We're going to end here soon, but I'm going to tell you this. I believe there's a light, Toni, and I believe people like yourself who are standing up against this are the reason why we have light, because you are putting yourself in a very vulnerable position. And I will tell you, I love you and thank you for it so much. And so do all of us who are real trans people. If we don't have more people like you starting to speak out against this insanity, we're gone. But it's happening. It's changing.
Exactly.
It is.
Yeah.
So with that, I think our
just awful.
Yeah, our connection's horrible, but it's okay. I got everything I needed and wanted to get from you. Right now, we'll have another. Well, why don't you just leave us with something that you would like to say, maybe to the world, about anything, who you are, or whatever.
Just accept who you truly are. You know, so don't seek validation from other people, because that will just only end in tears and disappointment. Just look into yourself and see who you truly are and accept that. You know, so whether it's good or bad, the only way you can move on in life is to accept who you are, and that's it. So
beautiful. You're amazing. I really value your friendship. I value you a lot as a friend. I consider us family. And, you know, it takes a lot to say what you're saying, which is really a sad thing, I have to say. But
do you know, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart when people say that to me. So you're so brave. And I'm thinking, why am I being brave for telling the truth? There's no bravery in that. It's the truth.
But that's the reality.
I don't think I'm brave. If I was brave, I wouldn't have transitioned. I would have just stayed dysphoric. That's what I think. But, you know, people
you're a great human. No, it's because you're a great human and you have the life experience behind you. And that's why I think we can show you that both of us transition as adults and we're solid in our space. And that's why it's important that you see kids can't make this choice. They cannot make this choice. This is not a game. It's not fun. It's not TikTok. It's not, you know, because that will end. And then what happens when these kids cut their bodies up and TikTok is no longer and they have no more validation from all their little friends? They'll
just all come crashing down around them.
That's right. That's right, friend.
You know, so the only thing we can do then is just be there for them. You know, so that's the only thing we can do.
Oh,
And I've
that
always
gave me
said that,
chills. That's
you
right,
know,
and
so
we
that's
are
the only thing you can do.
we are there for the kids, and we care about
Exactly.
these kids, and I
Exactly.
will not ostracize detransitioners
No,
ever,
oh, definitely
ever.
not. Definitely not. No,
They are
no, no.
important
I
to
think they
us.
need us more than ever. Exactly.
Oh my
Exactly.
God!
They
Look,
do.
I get tears in my eyes every single time I
Yeah,
think of
exactly.
these kids. It's
Oh, do
sick.
you know,
It
it's just
is.
awful. It's horrible. It's horrible. It really is. I know. I know.
So with that, everybody, I always appreciate you watching
Bless
these
you. Bless
interviews, and
you.
I always appreciate my guests, and I always appreciate you with the beautiful comments you always leave. I mean, you're more than welcome to leave hate comments if you want. No, it's okay. We
You
don't
know
care.
what? You know me. I would if I had any. I'm telling you.
We really don't care, but the majority of you see that are very loving and respectful of these people putting themselves out there. And send Toni a lot of love, and she's and follow her on Twitter as well. And I'll put all
Thank
your
you.
stuff in
Thank
the
you.
box, so we can raise your voice, because you're powerful and you need to be seen more. So with that, like, subscribe, do all those awesome things you're doing to help my channel and get these voices out there. And then I'll see you all next week on the live.